It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The most relatable unpopular opinions of Reddit. It is cool to say today that you shouldn't depend on someone else to make you happy, but most people do depend on others to make them happy. It's cool to say, I live a happy and fulfilling life alone, I don't need anyone. You firstly need to learn how to be happy on your own. It's cool to be independent. But thinking you can be happy living alone is such wishful thinking. That's not always the case. People are social creatures and are dependent on need contact with others, especially extroverts. People say that you need to be happy alone, but the same people who say that are in relationships. Why? Why are so many people even in unfulfilling, toxic, boring relationships if being happy alone is so great? And if it isn't, why do they lie? According to Maslow's hierarchy, we have a need to be loved. And that's usually by someone else. Plus our society looks down upon single people and shames them for being alone. Can anybody explain to me why people say such nonsense if they themselves cannot imagine their life without a partner? How can anybody be fully happy ignoring their basic human needs, social, romantic, intimate needs? Happiness is not a choice. It is for the lucky few. But I think we should stop proclaiming it as such. Happiness is your zip code. Happiness is your genes. Happiness is randomness. Happiness is luck. But it's not a choice. Saying it is makes people feel like it's their fault they're not happy. If you're not happy, don't worry, sometimes it's just the way it is and it can't be helped. Sometimes you're sick and might need medication, sometimes you just need to move. Criticizing cosmetic surgery, Botox, fillers etc. is not body shaming. The way certain people are doing cosmetic surgery etc. is just so dangerous. People such as the Kardashians have popularized the heavily altered, uncanny valley-like appearance that can only be achieved with copious amounts of surgical alterations. When they are criticized, people commonly defend them by accusing critics of body shaming. Let me be clear, if you are a public figure of any kind, people are going to judge you, particularly for promoting something as dangerous, psychologically and physically, as cosmetic surgery. And how can it be body shaming when it isn't even your body? The way I see it, it's no different to when celebs land on worst dressed lists. At that point, they're treating their bodies like accessories that can be swapped out and changed, so it's exactly the same thing. Disclaimer, I do believe surgery is fine sometimes, like in cases where people are, for example, burn victims who need reconstruction or gender-affirming surgery, although I wouldn't class either of these things as cosmetic, but the way these people are doing it is just so dangerous. If not paying a bill hurts your credit, then paying it should help your credit. Background: when I was a teenager I went through some struggles and found myself homeless for a while. I eventually moved into my own apartment, acquired a low-limit credit card, and started working on my credit. The only thing helping my credit was the credit card payments, and I slowly started seeing my score increase. I realized that if I fell behind on any of my bills it would rank my score, but paying them on time would never help raise it like the credit card. Medical bills, utilities, cell phones, etc. You can make payments on time every month and your credit will never change because of it, but start falling behind and the companies will send you to collections. This is especially true for young people starting out trying to build credit. I understand the need to collect revenue, and I also understand that using a credit card to pay your bills can help, but it should be as simple as the title suggests. As long as you get all your required work done and no one else has to pick up the slack for you, it shouldn't matter if you come in a few minutes late to work. I work in an office with very strict attendance. I, however, show up 5 to 20 minutes late now and then. My boss will often say something to you if you're more than a minute or two late, but she says nothing to me because I am a high producer, and I am professional outside of that. I think all officers should be like that as long as what I said before doesn't apply. You should be allowed to not like something without being accused of being quirky, or trying to be cool. I feel like people get very offended easily when someone doesn't like something or someone popular. It always seems to result in them being told they are doing it because they want to seem cool or different. Just like how we let people not like things. There's no need to get defensive or upset because your favorite singer doesn't have the world wrapped around their finger. The world wants poor nations to exist forever. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, actually. It is in the interest of richer or developed countries to make sure primitive, poor, and agricultural countries in Africa and Latin America stay the way they are, because someone somewhere has to provide for the developed places, whether it is food, agriculture, resources, cheap manpower, etc. The notion of wealthier places is, after all, at the expense of some other parts of the world. So that developed countries can pursue high-tech futures. You will need some poor people to do the dirty work so that you can live a decent, comfortable life in your developed country, and logically everybody will think this way, causing a cycle. No sane individual in richer nations will reject a decent life to plow the fields in a poor country for humanity's sake. Volunteering or donating to help poor countries is just a marketing namesake we hear often. Ultimately, you want them to stay poor to keep your status, and make sure there are always basic human need providers so the world doesn't starve in the future. In short, we all need poor places to stay poor and basic to continue to fuel us all. Pessimistic, I know, but it is what it is. People talking about how much they don't want kids is just as annoying as people asking when they are going to have kids. It feels like lately not having children has become a weird pseudo badge of honor. I have needed to unfollow multiple friends on social media because all their posts are "I don't want kids," main characters having kids in insert media here ruined it for me, or some flavor of kids are annoying, okay, and shouldn't be allowed in insert place here. This is every bit as agitating as the parents I know asking things like, "When are you going to settle down and have kids?" Smashing objects when they're not working properly is perfectly reasonable and should not be discouraged. When something isn't working correctly, it's basically broken. I see no reason not to smash it into oblivion at that point. It lets pent-up energy out, it directs your frustration towards something inanimate, and it gives you the sweet satisfaction of destroying the thing that's annoying you. If anything, it should be seen as something completely sensible and should be encouraged. I hate when people say stop caring what others think of you. In my opinion, you can never 100% not care what people think of you, especially if it's a large group of people close to you. Especially if you are a young person. I think it's too deep-rooted in the human mind to simply not care of others' opinion. If you think you don't care what others think of you, you definitely do to a degree. And if you think you don't, you're either some sort of sociopath or simply in denial, most likely. I think everyone cares to some extent what others or someone thinks about them. Either way, I think it's more important to simply not let the opinion of others affect you too deeply. It's okay if you feel embarrassed sometimes. It's okay if you feel upset at an insult someone made on you, etc. Don't try to push those emotions under the rug. That isn't not caring about their opinions, that's just bottling shit up. Instead, just learn to feel the emotions, then let it go, and don't let it control your life and decisions you make. That is my personal opinion. Buying ripped jeans is a waste of money and they look silly. They've been around for a while. Every decade or so the ripped jeans fad comes back around. Some of them have rips so large, you wonder how you get them on without making the rips even bigger. Why not just buy normal jeans and rip them yourself? What's the point anyway? I want to buy new pants that make it look like I'm wearing old pants and can't afford to buy new ones. If my pants are ripped, it means I just fell into a ditch or I was attacked by a wild animal. What did you think of these opinions? You didn't actually agree with any of them, did you? Let me know in the comments below and stay tuned for more.